Welcome, welcome, welcome. You're listening to the Ask Brien radio show on KHTS 1220 and 98.1 FM. Now, for people who have never ever listened, well, this is the Ask Brien radio hour. It's every Thursday, 1 to 2 p.m., where we learn about businesses, business owners, speak to CEOs, and everybody always asks, why do you spell Brien with an E? Because that's the only way I know how to spell it, Askbrien. But when I went to school, everybody's using Brien as Brian or Bryan, and they asked me, why did you spell it E? And one day, the engineer said, I think I know. So he's going to tell us. So why would you use an E when spelling Brien? You know, I know you're from Ireland, and I know Ireland, they like the E, but for other people, why would you use Brien as a first name?
Well, you know what? Hear me out on this. Here's my theory of why. There's a couple of words.
No, not Y-E.
Nah, you got me. here's what words associate with the Ask Brien Show. We have a couple of them. There's empathy. He was not very empathetic when he brought the Y instead of the E, but that was, to be fair, that was on me.
That was more along sarcastic than.
That's true. So you know what? Maybe he was being empathetic then. If he's just being.
Now, if I really make fun of you, then you could sit there.
There we go. There we go. But empathy would be one of them. We tend to be very empathetic. Sometimes not so empathetic, more so on me. But what can you do sometimes? The other one is effort, because we put 110% effort into everything we do on this show, right? Right, Brien?
I see you playing with the iPhone while I'm doing the show. I got you. I'll give you a pass on that one.
All right. That starts with a P, not an E, though. But outside that, we got...
Is that the P for problematic?
Yes. We have... let's see. We had effort. We had excellence, because we exude nothing but excellence here on the Ask Brien radio show. Another one is experts, because we recommend everyone be an expert in their field on this show. It's not required, but it is recommended. However, everybody that's on here is an expert in their own right. As Brien, kind of shudders his shoulders a little bit, looking at me. So, yeah. And then let's see. My favorite one is the engineer part, because, well, you can't run the show without the engineer.
Well, not with artificial intelligence. I mean, I think we certainly could.
But that starts with an A and an I, not an E.
Or I'm going to speak to our podcast experts, see if we can just automate everything and leave you out of the equation.
He got me on that one, Traci.
I don't know. I just felt like I needed to break into a verse of E-I-E-I-O. I don't know why. I just did.
Hey, I didn't realize I was dealing with Old MacDonald at a farm.
Neither did I.
And then wasn't the last E yours? Wasn't it enthusiasm? Yeah.
Yes, but
and excitement.
Yes. Go. Yeah.
There it is.
Oh, my.
Did I get them all?
Well, what's our guess? Hold on.
Yes.
Hold on.
Yes.
Hold on.
Yes, you did.
No, because Traci, who is our guest today?
Oh,
that is a good point.
And
that is a good one.
And her initials are EE as well.
EE. Yes, but the suspense is killing everyone. So why don't you just introduce her in your most wonderful way?
Go for it.
Well, before I do that, I do need to make sure I pronounce the name correct, because I have not dealt with her before. Her name is.
No, this isn't dealing with her. This is encouraging her and introducing her to the world.
Well, but first we have to tell about our great co-host, Traci. Traci.
Yes, I'm here.
Are you? But can you still hear?
Yes. No.
Well, that's what happens when you move to New Mexico. The hearing goes.
Yeah, I just like to keep that on the down low, but thanks for telling the world.
I was only telling the debt collectors.
Well, I'm still living in my fantasy land of South Florida where it's not snowing. today. So yeah, in my mind, I still live in South Florida.
So let's get to our guest. And I'm not, if I mispronounce your name, I apologize. Esosa, is that your first name?
Yes, Esosa
And then Edosomwon?
Edosomwon.
Edosomwon. Okay.
Yep, there you go.
So I didn't totally clobber that. Great.
No, thank you.
So for our listeners that don't know who you are, let's get a little bit about your background. My understanding is you have quite a background. So go ahead.
Well,
it's phenomenal.
So, it's hard. Sometimes I feel like it's hard to explain my life, but I am first generation Nigerian American, first generation to be born in the States. My parents came here from Nigeria in the 70s and went to college here. And I lived all over the U.S. I was born in New York City. I am a certified nutrition specialist and a behavioral coach. And my previous life before I went really deep down the rabbit hole of health was as an actress and a producer.
Well, for one thing, I was born in New York City, so we have something in common.
Hey, where part of New York, though?
I was born in St. Vincent's Hospital. It's a Catholic hospital in Manhattan. That's where I was born.
Okay.
So I don't know how far away that was from you. And I have that New York attitude because I grew up on Long Island. And
Okay.
And of course, iced tea is my favorite thing, so that's why I have Long Island iced teas, my favorite drink. Hi. So, couple questions for you.
Yeah.
As growing up, you were born in the U.S. Did you think you had any? Do you think you're have more desire and more energy because your parents were immigrants in terms of trying to, hey, I had to make something of myself, or do you think that was just just in your environment and whatever growing up?
Oh, no, it's a driving force. Like, I mean, I don't know. I mean, every single first generation person I meet feels the same way. But I mean, for me, it was very strong. Like, my parents both have PhDs, and Nigerians are very intense about education. And, you just want to make everyone proud. And I still have family back in Nigeria, and they're struggling, with issues due to lack of infrastructure and just like political corruption, things that I don't have to deal with because I'm over here and my internet works whenever I want it to work. And so that's always in the back of my mind. Like, I've been given, a better hand in a sense by being here, and I don't want to mess it up. And I want to make sure that I make people proud there, and that I can always go back and contribute because Africa is one of my favorite places to be.
I've been to Africa. I went to I've been to two places in Africa. I went to the pyramids in Egypt, and I also went to Tanzania. I stayed in Mount Kilimanjaro all the way through Arusha, all the way through to National Serengeti on a safari. So I've been to Africa
Okay.
twice.
One of my the place that I need to go is Zanzibar. Did you go to Zanzibar?
Only when I listened to that Billy Joel song about Zanzibar.
Lord.
So, now, you mentioned to me that you are currently did you go to college to get a nutrition degree, or did you do that on your own, or how did that work out?
I did. Well, it was kind of a combination of the two. Like, I have a lot of these, like, health coach and young nutritionists that are always reaching out to me, like, how did you do this? And I was like, you don't want my story. My story is, like, long and very intense. Like, so I don't know if you want but basically what happened was I was working as an actress, writer, in entertainment. And I've been vegan since I was 13 years old, which is actually very strange for someone who's Nigerian. Like, I was hazed most of my life. Like, why aren't you eating chicken? And I got to, I think it was like 2008 or so, I kind of had a health crisis, had crazy acne and all this stuff. Decided to become a raw foodist. My acne and all my health issues, my chronic fatigue issues went away within a month. And I had like really bad acne. Like it was everywhere, it was scarring and everything, and it was gone within a month. And then I moved from New York City to the boonies in Northern Virginia, and I could finally hear my own thoughts. And I literally heard God say, start a blog, and I was like, a what? So I had to like Google it. And I Googled what is a blog, and then I started a blog called Raw Girl in a Toxic World, and I just started writing about like supplements and foods and stuff, because whenever I would go to the grocery store or literally from Whole Foods to Trader Joe's or wherever, like people would stop me and ask me about my skin, or they would ask me why I was buying certain supplements, and I would have these like really long conversations, and I was like, well, if I start this blog, I can just write articles and tell them to go check it out versus like standing here for hours chatting. So that worked out really well. I did that for years. I was literally doing that, I don't know, almost 10 years. And then there was a point in the middle of my blogging that because people really took to my writing and my voice, they felt like they knew me, and so they would send me these epic letters, like telling me all of their health problems. And I was like, oh, my God, like I am not qualified to help you, but thank you for trusting me. Please go find someone who can help you. And I started to feel really bad about turning people away. And I also was like low-key obsessed with health, to the point where I was like, okay, this is not just a hobby anymore. I'm writing articles like 3 times a week. I'm always reading another health book. Like, I'm clearly obsessed. I should probably just go get a master's or something. So I figured out where I could get a master's, and I knew that I wanted to study holistic health and do it in a way that could help me address all kinds of major chronic health conditions. And so I became a certified nutrition specialist, and I studied nutrition and integrative health at Maryland University of Integrative Health. And it took me a while to finish my master's, but thank God I did. And then I got catapulted into seeing tons and tons of clients.
Well, let's take a step back, because this is actually something that could apply to anybody. So you found out what a blog is, okay, and then you start blogging, right, which is just basically writing on the internet. How in the world does anybody find you? I could write a blog right now, and I could say, talk about something, right? And how do people find you? How do people know about you? That applies to any business, so that's what I'd like to ask that.
Right. Well, I'm actually low-key really good at marketing. I'm actually really pretty good at like getting people interested in what I'm doing, but I started with like my mom reading it, of course, and like my cousins. And then I remember at the beginning, I would do things like troll meetup groups that were interested in health, and I'd be like, yeah, you should check out this blog, and just like drop a link. They're like, who is this girl? Like, who? Like, she's not really a part of the group. We've never seen her before. So I would do things like that, and then eventually, thankfully, my writing is actually pretty interesting and to read. So people just started sharing it, and then it got to the place where I could stop trolling people, and just have my social media presence, and it worked out that way.
So when did you start your blog?
Man, I think I started in 2009. Yeah.
Wow.
Seems like a long time ago now.
It is a long time. And how many people do you think are reading your blog on a consistent basis today?
Well, when it was at the height, it was a lot. I kind of took it for granted. I wasn't super serious about it. And then I went to school, and then obviously it dwindled because I was like leaving alone. But I've had millions of people read the articles, literally, from when it started.
Wow.
Yeah.
And besides doing it yourself and trolling people, you didn't have like a marketing campaign or anything built around it? No, just like literally trolling people, spreading it, So I've had, over the years, obviously, you can get to 1 million reads with a lot of people reading it consistently, but
a lot of people are super interested. And when I started my blog, though, like there really weren't that many health blogs, especially by a woman of color talking about veganism. Sometimes I meet bloggers now that are African American who are like, oh my God, I followed you a decade ago. You inspired me becoming a health coach. And I'm like, really? Interesting. But yeah, there was no one really doing it then. Now it's like everyone has, you know what I mean? Everyone has all these things. So maybe that was also why there were so many people reading it, because it was like, well, there's not that much out here.
Well, and then the other thing is, at the time, you didn't have your nutrition degree. So how are you learning?
No.
How do you learn all that information to post it on the blog? I mean,
I'm a nerd, dude. I'm totally a nerd. I read several books a week.
You said you're an actress, so you must have been on The Big Bang Theory, because that's where all the nerds go, right?
Not yet. They should totally hire me though.
Oh, she's way too beautiful for that show. Have you seen her? She's gorgeous. That show.
I haven't seen her. I'm not that superficial, Traci.
Oh, excuse me. I just did my research. Maybe that's a good way of saying you didn't do your research.
You know that I wing everything. I'm a New Yorker. We go with the flow. We can figure it out. It's trial and error.
Oh my.
So no, but that is quite amazing that you're able to write a blog, get people to listen to everything you're reading, and at that time you didn't have that nutrition background. You figured it out over time, and so afterwards, when you had the degree, when you learned about it, that's one thing. But to actually get it prior to that is the part that I find, very amazing that you were able to accomplish that. So, before we go, because we only got about 3 minutes before we're going to take our break, let's go over this. You said you were an actress. Would anybody know any of these things? Can you tell us what your acting background was?
Well, the show that I'm most known for is a show called An African City. It was like an African version of Sex and the City. It was set in Ghana, and we there's a lot of people who are very intense fans of that show. But yeah, no, it was good fun.
And was that on what station was that on?
So when we first put out the show, it actually was on YouTube, and it went mega viral on the continent of Africa and in Europe and in the States. And then I think our second season was on Canal Plus and DSTV in Africa. So we were in French speaking. I think I was dubbed in French, which I never got to see. That would have been entertaining.
Well, I hope so, unless you speak French.
No, I don't.
So it had to be dubbed.
Yeah.
Well, that's pretty amazing too. How old were you when you did that? Because what are you, 22, 23 now? So what was that?
Oh yeah, of course. 23 is the age that I'll just be forever. When did that come out? I think our second season was that. Oh my goodness. I think the first season was 2013, and the second season might have been 2016-ish when it came out.
Wow, it's not that long ago then.
No.
And on the show, you were an actress, but you also you did some writing, correct?
Oh, well, on the show, I did some producing and I was acting. Yeah. So I was, it's a show about fashion, and I was very big on let me make sure that works, because it's if you're trying to do Sex and the City, the fashion has to be fabulous.
So which character were you? If you had to compare yourself to one of the American characters, Carrie, or I don't know the names of those people, but who would you have been?
My character was the Charlotte of the show, which is really funny for people who know me.
I was going to go for Samantha. I was going to say Samantha. Not because of some of Samantha's habits, but because of your savviness and your PR and your marketing. Let me be super clear why I chose that particular character. Because she's so sophisticated and savvy and so great at marketing and PR, just like you. I
Yeah.
can't
Right,
speak to
I
the other parts of
appreciate
your life. I can't speak to that.
Right. No, I
Nice,
hear you.
nice
I
try,
hear you.
Tracy, but we all know. All right, so we're going to be taking a break, and we're going to be coming right back. You can listen to the Ask Brien radio show on KHTS 1220, 98.1 FM. We'll be right back.
Live life juiced up at Juice It Up Valencia. Come in and try our great tasting smoothies, protein shakes, acai, and wheatgrass for your healthy lifestyle on the go. Also, enjoy our 10 flavors of tantalizing zinc frozen yogurt and selection of healthy toppings. Juice It Up Valencia is located at the corner of Newhall Ranch Road and Copper Hill Drive in the Office Depot Plaza. Open Monday through Saturday from 7 a.m. until 9 p.m. and Sundays from 8 until 8. And remember to live life juiced up at Juice It Up Valencia.
This is Jill from the Santa Clarita Grocery, the all-volunteer grocery program serving children, families, and individuals experiencing food insecurities. Since January 2020, Santa Clarita Grocery has distributed 83 tons of fresh groceries to our 4,655 families in the SCV community. Santa Clarita Grocery is a drive-up, drive-through service with physical distancing in place to continue serving our community. If you are in need or looking for a charity to do the most good for our community, please consider partnering with us by donating to Santa Clarita Grocery, one of the most efficient charities in the Santa Clarita Valley. A full 99 cents out of every dollar goes directly back to the community. Santa Clarita Grocery operates on a 1% overhead and is sustained through private donations. Santa Clarita Grocery is at 21176 Centerpoint Parkway in the Oasis Furniture parking lot. Please visit our website at santaclaritagrocery.org or our Facebook at Santa Clarita Grocery to make a difference in our awesome town community. 425-7575. Be our guest and experience the difference.
This holiday music is brought to you by Providence Holy Cross Medical Center, your community health partner. To learn more about our award-winning care, call 1-888-HEALING or visit us on the web at providence.org.
If you have a business problem, if someone doesn't honor their agreement and you need an aggressive attorney with over 27 years' experience, the Law Office of Peter Bronstein has helped partners resolve disputes, franchisees resolve disputes, and other business owners who have a challenge. Let the Law Office of Peter Bronstein take your stress away. Visit lacorporateattorney.com. Don't wait too long and lose your rights. Solve your business challenge problem today. Visit lacorporateattorney.com.
Hometown, your hometown station.
Welcome, welcome, welcome. You're listening to the Ask Brien radio show on KHTS 1220 and 98.1 FM. Is that a New York accent? And
You know, it is in a New York accent, yeah.
I don't think so. We'll ask the guest. The guest is from New York. She'll know.
True.
Hi. So, Tracy said that I've been asking a lot of questions, and she has a ton of questions to ask, and she needs me to take a back step. So, didn't you just tell me that, Tracy?
Wow. I mean, I thought it. I just didn't know it was my outside voice.
Don't worry,
No, it's just that
I'm the alter
it's just
ego,
that
so
I'm
don't
so-
worry.
Oh, okay, yeah. Or else you just live in my head, which is even more scary, but I digress.
That's a very big
So
digression.
I just want to say that we've concentrated a lot on your life in New York, but since I was born and raised in Virginia, I felt like maybe that I should ask you about your experience when you said that what I loved about what you said was how you were able to get to a place where you could actually hear your thoughts. And, and isn't that, I mean, I think that's a lovely way of describing Northern Virginia, although I don't know that Northern Virginia these days would allow you to hear your own thoughts.
Right. Well, it depends on where you are in Northern Virginia, I guess.
Yes, that's definitely true.
I never imagined, I went to Fairfax High School, and I never imagined that I would ever really live in Fairfax, and now I live in Fairfax. But I really do enjoy Northern Virginia. I really do. I enjoy that DC's right around the corner. Maryland's right around the corner. I really like it.
It is a beautiful state, and I love it as well. So I wanted to ask you, because I was saying in the break, and I'll say it again, is your marketing is really exceptional. And
thank you.
Your branding around Raw Girl in a Toxic World, your visuals, how you have built your brand is incredibly powerful. And I think it's so important for entrepreneurs to hear how that's done basically as a startup and then as you evolve, because you're clearly way beyond a startup now. Can you share with us, because it just seems like it comes naturally to you, but tell us a little bit about your process on how you built your brand.
Thank you so much. Yeah, no, it actually really does come naturally to me, which is kind of an annoying thing to say, but it does. I grew up with entrepreneurs. So my dad was an entrepreneur, and I think I naturally, because I have the creative side, but I also do have the analytical side, I always want it to look great and give cause a feeling for people, while at the same time having substance. So I'm big on because I really believe in going the extra mile, like Napoleon Hill says, I really want my presentation to be oh, this is really high quality, because I will deliver on that. And so that for me is always a thing. But when I first started with my blog, because I'm a creative person, I'm always what is the image? And that's with everything. That's with a photo or whatever. But with Raw Girl in a Toxic World, I don't know. I had this friend who went to Cornell University with me. We both were fashion majors at Cornell, and she was an illustrator, and she made the coolest illustrations. And I had this idea in my head of Raw Girl being a superhero, and she was like, "I got you," and she just came up with this flying superhero, holding all these great vegetables, you know what I mean, flying over the toxic world. So I was like, this is epic. This is great. And then it just went from there with the blog. But with every single product or service that I offer, I'm very big on not just, and I know that, I think sometimes people are worried about getting things super perfect before they launch, and that's never, it's always good to just to get out there, so don't freak out too much. But the first impression really is the first impression, and so for me, I always want it to be whoa, what is that? even if you may not like it, you're going to be I'm interested. I'm interested in knowing what that's about, just based on the image.
Well, and I think you made an important point, and I don't want to gloss over it, is that the visual brand of your business does state a powerful image, and that also translates into how people feel about wanting to work with you. So consistently posting a blog post and delivering that regularly shows that you're committed to reliability and responsibility, and then to integrate that with a very strong visual aesthetic and quality graphics and branding, then that's also an extension of the level of the quality of the work that you do. And then the content itself is such a great extension of your expertise. And it sounds like that you do a good bit of consulting with around nutrition within your business model. Can you tell us about that and how that works?
Yeah. So when I started my business, funnily enough, I started my business while I was still working at a wellness clinic, and I created a class called Staying Ageless 30 Plus. It's a class for women 30 or over who want to learn about longevity and how to create lasting, healthy rituals. And it was the first time I had ever sold anything. I had been blogging for years and years and years and had never really sold anything substantial. And I put out, a call for this class, and I filled the class so fast that I was like, I have to quit my job. It was only a week later I had to quit my I had to put in my notice.
That is like the entrepreneur's dream come true. I think I'm going to try out this class. Holy cow, I have to quit my job. It's on
Yeah,
so
because
well. That's amazing.
because what happens is, if people trust you, like it's like nowadays, as you know, it's like less about like straight marketing, like in a salesy way. I'm a really good salesperson. I can sell almost anything over the phone, but it's not because I'm pushing things on people. It's because I'm listening to them and deciphering what they need and what I can offer that they need. And they know that I'm not taking advantage of them, which is a very important part about being a good salesperson, honestly. They know that they can trust
Critical.
me. They know that I'm going to deliver. They know that I have the expertise because they were following me for years and years. So literally it was like people were throwing their credit cards at me like, yeah, I've been following you for 5 years. I was like, oh, my God. I was like, okay, I guess I should have done this sooner. Yeah, it was so interesting. So that's how it started. And then I did the Staying Ageless 30-plus class for about a year straight. I just kept launching it again, and I just kept having more people. And then, at a certain point, you're going to run out of people who followed you forever, and you got to, like, find new people kind of thing. But what I had to do was I had to shut my entire business down for, I think, from August until it was a period. From August until December of 2019, I had to shut my entire business down because I had all the hours for my credential, and I had my degree, but then they make you take this horrifying exam that literally, honestly, was the hardest thing I've ever taken in my entire life. And I had to go study for this exam and pass it so I could get my CNS credential. And I studied for it. I literally shut out everything, passed it, got my credential December 2019, reopened my business in January. And when I reopened it, I decided that because I think, I don't know, we live in like a fast food world where everybody wants something really fast. And I'm really keen on becoming, like, getting my 10,000 hours. And I was like, I need to see a lot more clients. Like when I was working at the wellness clinic, I had a crazy schedule. So I learned a lot. So I had like 300 plus clients a month, which is a lot at the beginning, all different races, nationalities, all kinds of chronic conditions. So I learned a lot there, but I was like, I want to go in deeper. I want to do it on my own. So I opened up my practice at the beginning of this year and just started seeing people one-on-one. That built. And then what happened is midway through this year, I kind of had a health crisis because I get such great results for people that so many people were coming to me that I was burnt out. Like my schedule was crazy. I realized I had to hire an assistant. Like, how in the world am I doing this? Like, I'm not getting lunch breaks because I'm seeing people all the time. And so I hired an assistant. I started taking lunch breaks, and I was like, you know what? This is going to burn me out and make me not healthy, and I'm supposed to be the picture of health for other people and the inspiration for other people. This is not going to work. What happened to my whole class thing? And so I went back and relaunched Staying Ageless. We just had Staying Ageless come back, and now we've created Staying Ageless University, which takes all of these protocols I've been using for the past 2 years that have helped people get rid of candida, get rid of parasites, achieve hormonal balance. I have a lot of fibroids, endometriosis clients. I have endometriosis clients who literally started they were like going to the hospital but when they first came to see me all the time, and now they don't have any more endometriosis symptoms. So I'm using all these protocols I use on individuals, and I'm creating now healing programs that can help a lot more people and hopefully not burn me out in the process. So that's how it's evolved. It started it started again with this okay, I just want to learn more, of course. And then now it's like, oh my God, now that I've proven myself in a sense, the referrals don't stop, because if you do, and I've always been obsessed with going the extra mile, and it works every time. If you are really good at what you do and you go the extra mile, people will hunt you down.
You have said so many brilliant entrepreneurship tips in just these few moments that you've been speaking that I just want to point and highlight some of the things that you said. So one of them is recognizing your burnout and realizing that you're at a place in your business where it's time to delegate. And in working with thousands of women entrepreneurs over the last decade, I feel like that's one of the biggest struggles is, like, as women entrepreneurs, we are so willing to help anybody all the time and lift someone up. I mean, if you're a true woman entrepreneur, then you're willing to do that. I can't say that that's exclusive, but it's the way it should be all the time. And clearly you're one of those. But asking for help, we would help anybody who would ask us, but for us to ask for help makes it so challenging sometimes. And it's so unfortunate because that burnout factor is real. And I just really applaud you for doing that. And then how was it for you to transition into delegating? Because that's where the whole controlism, you have to release a little bit of your schedule and a little bit of this. So how did you balance that in knowing you had to do it for your health and to keep walking the walk and talking the talk of your brand, but then actually being able to do it?
Well, so I have been lucky in that. So I did do the first 2 years of business school at Columbia. I didn't do the whole thing, or the first year, I guess. And when I was in business school, I had started to learn that what I was good at was I was good at managing people. I was never really good at being an employee. In my early 20s, I swear I got fired so many times, but until I understood myself. Because the problem with me is I'm a big picture person. So if you tell me to go clean a table, I'll be like, oh my God, I figured out a way that we could organize everything on the table so that it takes less time for us to get the table set. And they're like, that's not what I asked you to do. So I had to start to work with my strengths, which were more big picture things and managing people and stuff. And through managing people and also being managed and having bad managers and also sometimes not being a great manager myself, I learned how to do that. But I still think the hardest thing is creating an environment where people can mess up. It's because you want people who have initiative, but you want to create a business environment where your employees feel like I can mess up and get right back up and keep going. And they're more likely to actually take more initiative and do things and not feel like they're tiptoeing around you and stuff like that. And so that for me was a huge priority. And I'm a perfectionist about certain things, but I learned that okay, slowly but surely, as I'm giving the reins over, just get more and more comfortable with that person. Just slowly but surely, just don't take things personally, because it's I have to be able to let go of certain things. Be it's not going to be exactly that way, But my assistant knows certain things that I'm more particular about and certain things that I'm not. But generally speaking, I just let her. She's awesome. And that's what I need. It's I need someone who's going to take as much initiative as I would if I was doing that job, and just go off and do it so that I can do other things.
Well, and I will say though that for an assistant to be able to do that for someone, they have to feel empowered and that they're trusted. And so that's a real testament to your leadership skills as well, because you're creating an environment for your team where they feel like they can take that initiative and do that at minimal risk of retribution, if you will, if something went wrong. So another great point you make about building a business and being an entrepreneur is having that set of leadership skills. And then the second thing that you mentioned that I absolutely do not want to gloss over is how important this set of skills of being able to sell as an entrepreneur, how important that is. So many people start businesses and they literally are shocked when they're not seeing the growth that they think that they should see, and they get advice from a business consultant or something like that. He says, well, you've got to sell your product. And they're horrified and frozen. I created this product. I can't sell this product. And so
right.
And so is that just a natural affinity that you have, or is it something that you realized early on that you needed to develop to increase your revenues?
So I have had, when I was an actress, I had every job on the planet, okay? At one point I was a waiter. At one point I was a real estate agent. At one point I was a salesperson for a business coach at one point. So I had all these weird, like, it's so interesting how life does this, where you're like, none of this makes sense until it makes sense. So I had all these weird opportunities to kind of like become a really great salesperson. Even when I was a manager and I was in business school, I was a sales manager, and I tripled our sales, like in like the first 2 months I was there, just by like creating a new environment in the store and having everyone have fun and, you know, doing things like this. And so it was like I just kept being put in situations where I was selling things, and I learned, but it was never like, it was always stuff that I believed in, you know? It's like, don't sell something you don't believe in. That's not authentic, you know? So like part of the reason why there was so much trust even with my blog and even with my products is because the people who follow me know that I'm never going to, like, I'm always going to over deliver, and I'm never going to give you a sales point that I can't deliver on. Like, I'm not going to just like hype you up for no reason. So if I tell you that if you do the work, you may leave without a condition, you best believe it's true. And that's like something that, you know, that just comes from just, again, being obsessed with being good at what you do.
We're going to take a break. We'll be right back with KHTS 1220 and 98.1 FM.
Join us this fall for online fun with the Canyon Theater Guild online youth workshops. Super fun classes with acting, singing, dancing, audition tips, script writing, scene study, improv, and putting on real shows created for online performance. Get creative, meet new friends, and most of all, have a blast from the comfort of your own home. Call 661-799-2702 or ctgworkshops@gmail.com or canyontheater.org.
If you have a business problem, if someone doesn't honor their agreement and you need an aggressive attorney with over 27 years experience, the law office of Peter Bronstein has helped partners resolve disputes, franchisees resolve disputes, and other business owners who have a challenge. Let the law office of Peter Bronstein take your stress away. Visit lacorporateattorney.com. Don't wait too long and lose your rights. Solve your business challenge problem today. Visit lacorporateattorney.com.
I'm Tamara Gurney, President and CEO of Mission Valley Bank, Santa Clarita Valley's local community business bank dedicated to supporting small businesses throughout our community. As a matter of fact, Mission Valley Bank made over 360 Paycheck Protection or PPP loans totaling over $72 million to local small businesses to help them navigate these challenging times. Our commitment to small businesses throughout our community will not waver as we look forward. On behalf of everyone at Mission Valley Bank, we're wishing you a happy holiday season.
It's like no other station I've ever listened to. It's great.
Your hometown station.
Welcome back. You're listening to the Ask Brien radio show on KHTS 1220 and 98.1 FM. Did you know that? I didn't know that.
You know, I didn't until now.
Like no other station in the world. All right, we're back. Traci, you were asking a question and somebody rudely interrupted you, but I don't know who that person was.
Well, I didn't. I was not offended. The rudeness just goes over my head now. No. So really, what I was connecting the dots on is that the creation of the sales or the energy of the sales that you put into growing your business is then what ultimately leads, and what you were saying is that you sell something, but then you have to deliver what you sell. And then when you deliver what you sell in such a great way, that's when the referrals come in. And I think people really skip that step, and they think, oh, I'm going to start this business, and everybody's going to send their friends and family to me. And that's just not exactly always how it happens. So,
right.
So that's where I just wanted to close the loop on that and say that it's great that you have a business that's built on sales and on referrals, because it's much more scalable that way. You have been such an incredible teacher just in this episode, so I can only imagine the impact that you make through your women's initiative efforts. Will you share with us about what that initiative is all about and how you're helping young girls grow and find their passions and start businesses?
Yeah, so the educational initiative was tied to, I wrote a one-woman show where I played 11 characters. It was about the first female pharaoh, Hatshepsut. It was called The Woman Who Would Be King. I debuted it in 2016 in South Africa, and then it went on to be done at the Smithsonian Museum of African Arts, the John F. Kennedy Center for Performing Arts. I took it back to Africa and went to Uganda and did it at the Kampala International Theater Festival, which is sponsored by Sundance. And basically everywhere I went with the play, I would make sure that there was education tied to some sort of underserved audience. So when I did it at the John F. Kennedy Center for Performing Arts in D.C., I went to a local middle school, and I did an expert there, and I talked to these young girls there, which is really awesome because they were just in awe. And obviously I had all the makeup and costume and stuff. And then when I did it in Uganda, we went and actually donated so many educational supplies to an orphanage in Uganda, which was super amazing and very gratifying. So it's tied to my performance piece, but then I actually still do that even through my nutrition work. So my new program site, Staying Ageless University, we donate a portion of the profits to different partners. Our current partner is the Adera Foundation. Betty was actually one of my clients. She's from Kenya, and she was in a horrible abusive marriage for many years. And when she got out, she decided she wanted to help women suffering from violence and issues in Kenya. And she started her foundation, and she does everything from empowering young girls and helping with education to donating sanitary pads and food. Right now, with the donation we recently gave them, they are also doing some COVID-19 education stuff. So it's really gratifying. It's something that's going to be a part of anything that I do, just because I really just want to see, I know how important education is, and I want to see women win, really.
Well, you're an inspiration and a role model, and I don't know if you have another book in you, but if there is one, I think it should be all about helping other women start businesses because you are quite a phenomenal role model.
Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate that.
Oh, and there was one other thing. I know God told you to write a blog, but did you hear Brien mention that you should start a podcast? I just didn't know if you heard that or not.
That's because I didn't say it. That's because I didn't say it.
Lucky for Brien, I do have a podcast, and I did before. Years ago, I learned how to become a radio producer. Again, one of those random jobs where I was like, I'm never going to use this. Learned how to produce radio and, was doing that and then stopped and then was like, I guess nothing came of that. And then this year I was like, I want to start a podcast. So I started the Staying Ageless podcast, and we have all these amazing experts on different health issues. Every week.
I didn't want to interrupt. Oh, how can people get in touch with you because the show is over?
Yeah. So
by listening to our podcast.
You can go to my website, therawgirl.com. If you're interested in healing programs, go to stayingagelessuniversity.com. My podcast is everywhere, Staying Ageless Podcast, and then I am on social media on all platforms at therawgirl.
Thank you very much. You're listening to the Ask Brien Radio Show, KHTS 1220 and 98.1 FM, the greatest show on earth. Woo!